Have to see the end of last night's game. Of course, a lot of you did. I know you stayed up late to watch it, waking up early with us. We will get to some of the highlights. We're talking about the Avs' huge win last night at Ball Arena, the clincher, if you will, for their second-round playoff series. They scored 2 goals in the third period, 1 goal in overtime. Huge comeback win, 4-3 the final score. Having said all that, thanks for being with us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Drew Carney.
And I'm Corey Rose. It was just incredible. The Avs are now just one step closer to being the kings of the Western Conference. Check this out, by the way. Our good friend D-Mac from Altitude Sports Radio sent us this video of his perspective from Kulak's game-winning goal. The crowd going crazy. I can't even imagine being inside Ball Arena last night for this overtime win. D-Mac will be joining us live coming up in about 45 minutes as the Avs now get ready for their next matchup.
How about being inside the Corey Rose household last night? Kids stayed up late for this one, right?
You know, we were all laying down and it was going into overtime and I said, you guys want to go watch? And so we just stayed up late and we watched. It was so worth it.
Thank goodness we had that D-Mac video, and I promise you we will fire up the highlights of the game itself a little bit later this hour. Lots to cover with the Avs, but we're also covering a traffic situation. So some traffic trouble to tell you about. With that in mind, we turn it over to Brianna Fernandez. Brianna?
Yeah, so I just got off the phone with Aurora Police and they told me that they were able to open at least one lane southbound 225. We still have that traffic impact alert because we are still seeing significant slowdowns for anyone taking southbound 225 just south of I-70. So these are the closest CDOT cameras that I have along 225 Colfax Avenue, as well as 225 between Colfax and Alameda. And you can just see the backups that we are seeing right now. I want to switch things over to our main maps, kind of break down this crash that we are tracking. So earlier this morning, this was a full closure that was happening along southbound 225 near Smith Road. According to Aurora Police, they were saying that 5 cars were involved in this crash and 2 people had to be taken to the hospital. So we are seeing some eastbound delays from I-70 for folks trying to head southbound to 225. So that means that 3 lanes are still blocked. Only 1 lane is open. Now, the other problem that I'm noticing is that northbound 225, we're also seeing some heavy delays, and that's because folks are trying to figure out exactly what's going on the other side of 225. So please take it nice and slow. Do not text and drive. This is definitely going to be a mess all throughout the morning until APD can fully reopen southbound 225. Now, if you drive along Colorado Boulevard all the time, chances are you know how backed up things can get out there. CDOT thinks that they have a fix. That solution, bus rapid transit. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj, she is live this morning in Glendale, and Shalima, leaders just aren't in love with this idea.
No, not at all, Brianna, and we've heard quite a bit of that. Now, CDOT is looking at 3 possible options here, and one of them is to have buses share lanes of traffic. The other option is to have dedicated bus lanes down along the curbs, and then the third option is to have bus lanes down the center of the road. And that was up for discussion last night at a public meeting, essentially to gather feedback from people on the plan. The 7-mile corridor we're talking about would run from RTD's 40th and Colorado station to its Southmore station. And last week, Glendale City Council voted unanimously to oppose all BRT alternatives. About a mile of the corridor is in Glendale, and the city manager says it all boils down to how traffic flow and local businesses could be affected by construction, and he even used the incredibly unpopular Colfax BRT as a cautionary tale. Business owners there, of course, have been speaking up about how traffic disruptions have kept customers away. CDOT, meanwhile, is projecting future growth along the corridor. Glendale, not buying that.
This is really premature at this time to start planning a BRT project on Colorado Boulevard when they don't even know what the impacts are on Colfax to the businesses and the ridership from the BRT.
Our transportation system, as up to now, it's been through moving personal vehicles, but we can see the research is in, like, that doesn't work. It's not safe.
Yeah,
Now, mobility advocacy group Denver Streets Partnership was at last night's meeting. They were collecting signatures in favor of BRT, and but since Colorado Boulevard is, of course, a state highway, CDOT inevitably has the final say when it comes to what goes forward here. A decision on the preferred design is expected this summer. Construction, on the other hand, wouldn't start until 2030. Reporting live, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
Shalima, thank you for that report. It is 6:04 and turning now to our forecast. Some light winds out and around the Denver area this morning. It'll be a really pretty sunrise. Clouds hanging over the I-25 corridor. Dry roads really anywhere you need to be here across the state. Happy Thursday to you, Colorado. We will again see near record highs. So some pretty toasty temperatures on tap this Thursday. This morning, very mild. Fort Collins at 72 degrees. 60s for the majority of the Denver area. Head west into Georgetown. Evergreen, not quite as chilly. We're in the 50s there. And a quick warm up ahead. Mostly cloudy to start, peaks of sunshine for the day, dry conditions, and by 11 o'clock already 80 degrees. We're talking shorts, t-shirt weather once again for this afternoon. We hit 89 officially out at the airport yesterday. We're expecting 86 today, 90s returning to the southeastern plains. Not quite as warm over Colorado's high country with a few shower and storm chances out east, but really not a lot of inclement weather minus the winds, which we have seen pick up from the west-southwest into portions of higher terrain, our central and southern mountains, especially as you can see into our Sangre de Cristos and portions of the northeastern plains. We'll be watching for elevated fire danger. You see low relative humidity, gusty winds, warm and dry. If a fire were to spark, it has the potential to spread. No advisories for Denver, but it will be a touch breezy at times. There's that storm chance from Fort Morgan to Sterling, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Most areas will stay dry. A change, my friend, in the weather pattern. We will be looking at this low. We'll talk more about what that has the potential to do, but rain and even some mountain snow in the forecast into early next week. Details still to come in your extended forecast.
All right, thank you, Katie. Let's get to our local news headlines this hour. The city of Denver will pay $225,000 to settle a lawsuit filed by two people who were held at gunpoint by Denver police. 2 years ago, officers were searching for an armed suspect in a red Saturn with Colorado plates, but instead, they wound up stopping a couple in a maroon Mercury with Kansas plates. Officers cuffed and detained the couple, and while all this was happening, an officer accidentally fired off his gun. No one was hurt, and the DA's office declined to file criminal charges against that officer. The couple sued, though, claiming that the officers continued to detain them even after they realized they had the wrong people. This payment, by the way, brings the city's 2026 total for taxpayer-funded legal settlements to over $780,000.
A 16-year-old student is under arrest after Aurora police say he brought a loaded gun to Overland High School. We brought you this as breaking news yesterday morning. Police say he was trying to break up a fight between two girls when he pulled out the gun. A student yelled to warn people, and then a security official tackled him to the ground before taking him into custody. Police say the gun had not been reported stolen. The student now faces several charges. Cherry Creek School says mental health staff is available for students and staff who need support.
The 17-year-old student accused of driving so recklessly earlier this week that two schools in Aurora had to tighten security is now in custody. The Cherry Creek School District says that teenager sped around Cherry Creek Trail High School and Fox Ridge Middle School on Tuesday and hit several cars. No one was hurt, but the schools were under secure status for most of the day. That meant all exterior doors were closed and locked. Aurora police arrested the student yesterday afternoon at an apartment complex just a couple of miles away from those schools.
Some Xcel Energy customers say they were forced to choose between installing a smart meter or losing power to their homes. Aaron Duran in Adams County says he thought he opted out years ago. But last week, a utility worker showed up at his home and warned him the power could be shut off if crews couldn't install the new meter. Xcel eventually did shut off Duran's electricity, but Duran had to give in and agreed to the smart meter, all because he had a newborn baby in the house.
I feel like they're trying to strong-arm people into doing it, and when you say no, no means no.
Other customers in Thornton and Westminster say they face similar situations. Xcel says customers can still opt out of the smart meters, but they have to formally do it through the company and pay a monthly fee for manual meter readings.
And right now, Sky 9 is up, giving us almost a live look of this 5-car crash that I've been mentioning all throughout the morning, which is why we have still that traffic impact alert for anyone taking southbound 225 near Smith Road. So this is just south of I-70. We know 5 vehicles were involved and 2 people were taken to the hospital. I'm going to have details for you on this crash in just a couple of minutes.